Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you my harvest. I've got green harvest and as well as the other vegetables in my garden. So the first one I'm going to show you is cherry tomatoes. The cherry tomatoes, if you look at, they're very small. Usually the cherry tomatoes that are available in the supermarket are a bit bigger than this, but mine is very small. So I call them as button tomatoes. And these are very tasty, very sour in taste. So for example, if you add one tomato, maybe this one requires maybe 4 or 5 tomatoes. So even though they're very small, but they don't require large in quantity. So they just require only like few to make your curry the same taste as the other normal tomato. And this is a very bushy plant. It grows as a very big bush. If you have space, you can leave it. One bush would be, from my experience, would be enough for a family of 4. And once it hits the peak season, which is around some places, because I'm talking about Sydney weather, and in my garden, because garden to garden also varies. I have seen my friends who lives just a couple of doors away, their season starts much earlier than my season. So I can't really comment on this, but from my garden perspective, the peak season starts somewhere end of December, and then it starts producing more crop on all my plants. And this one started, yes, this is my 3rd crop, and I didn't record first 2 crops because it was not generating much. So whatever I need for my cooking, I just use them. And the problem with this is, I have to look for the ripe ones because they hide in the bush. It's very bushy plant. And I love this plant because the taste is very good and it's easy to grow. Usually the tomatoes attract a lot of pests like caterpillars and other flies and stuff like that. But whereas this plant, it doesn't have that sort of problem. So it just grows wild and it is pest resistant. You will get here and there. I don't say that it's the very tough plant, but it does have a lot less pest problems than the other tomatoes. And this one starts generating more crop than the other one because it's a very bushy plant. So only the other side of it is like sometimes it's very time consuming to pick the fruit. That's the only problem I find it. And the manures I have used is cow manure and horse manure, depending on the type, just based on how the tomato is growing, how the plant is growing. If the plant is having lots of flowers, and then I try to put a bit more manure so that it gets more energy to get fruits on them. So look at the bush, how bushy it is. It's definitely enough for a family of 4. So I have got 2 kids and then 2 adults. So that would be enough for the family. And if you want, like if you have older kids or 4 adults in the family, maybe 2 bush would be enough, depending on how much cooking you make. So I've harvested this. Finally, this is my tomato harvest. It's not much, but this is enough for my lunch cooking. I'm picking some apple cucumber. I've got a couple of them in the backyard. I've got more in the front yard, but I'm just picking a couple of them to share with my friend because I've got 3 at the front yard, so I'll just leave it for cooking. This one to share with a friend who came from Canberra. And now I'm jumping onto Tindora. Tindora, I did a big harvest, which I've shown you in the previous video. And lately I've seen a bit of reduction in the crop for Tindora. I'm assuming this because of the weather that we had recently changed. It changed a bit cooler, so that's why the crop production has gone down. Because Tindora loves heat. So if it has got too much heat, it gives lots of fruits. So, and now tender tamarind leaves. This is one of the favorites in my garden too, and a rare plant to grow in Sydney. You find them in Queensland but not in Sydney much, and I'm glad that it's grown very well in my garden. And I grew this one from seed. This is about maybe 4 to 5 years old. Can't remember exactly because it took a lot of time to grow. It's a very slow growing plant because of the weather. So what I usually do is I pick the tender leaves which I use in my cooking. So it tastes very, very good, and I don't find any difference in the taste, which I find it in my country, India. So I use like maybe 2 times harvest would be enough for my cooking. Ta-da! This is the harvest for the day.